Welcome to Inter-Party Conflict, the podcast where we answer your questions so you can have the best tabletop gaming experience possible. My name is Gabe, and I need to interrupt myself here and say that this is not a standard episode. In fact, this is quite a bit of a deviation than we usually do. If you're looking for a normal episode, you're not going to get it. Check back in next week. But let me tell you what is in store for this week. So a couple weeks ago, it was my birthday. And I had an idea I had a birthday party, and I had an idea for something to do where I was going to have all of my guests sort of put together an audio guest book. And so what I did was every time a guest showed up, I brought them here into the recording studio, and then I just kind of, talked to them for about 5 minutes. I sort of interviewed them. I asked them what a day in their life was like. I asked everybody for a piece of advice. If they could give a piece of advice to the world, what would that be? And I don't know, I really enjoyed it. I thought that maybe it could make for, an entertaining episode of the podcast. So I guess fair warning, this is probably not going to interest all of our usual listeners. There is some talk of D&D. A lot of the people that came to my party are nerds, as gets called out at some point in the episode. But for the most part, it was not tabletop gaming related. It was mostly just me talking to my friends and family about what their lives are like. So if that sounds like it interests you, then here you go. If not, no worries. I totally understand. Maybe just come back next week, and we'll be back to our usual shenanigans when you come back, when we catch up with you next week. So again, I will not blame anybody for skipping this episode. This is not a normal episode. I know this is an off-topic thing, but I don't know. It was just something that I thought would be a fun exercise, and I had a lot of fun making it. Maybe some people out there will have a lot of fun listening to it. So anyway, thank you everybody for, sticking with us this long. And I guess we'll get into the episode. One warning I do want to give. There is some slight profanity in the last couple of the stories. And like maybe like the 2/3 to 3/4 mark. There's maybe an S-bomb or two. I think there might be an F-bomb in there. So just fair warning. I didn't feel like bleeping them out because, it's a different episode. So anyway, thanks again for listening, and hopefully you guys have an enjoyable time listening, and catch you next time with a normal episode. So, hello, Lisa.
Hi.
Sorry. Let's do this over. Please introduce yourself.
Hello and welcome to Birthday Party Podcast. No, Birthday Party Conflict.
You didn't even get it right. Keep going.
Okay, what was the question?
Please introduce yourself.
Oh, I am Lisa. I am currently married to Gabe. I will be married to Gabe forever. So, hands off, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep. High five. The dog wanted in on that.
Oh, he was shaking in disapproval.
Yep. Yeah. So how are you doing?
I am doing good.
Yeah. So
I have a slight headache.
I'm sorry. So you're the first person that is recording this today.
Uh-huh.
So I guess I'll figure out what I'm doing as the day goes on, I think. But I guess let me start off with the question, who are you? And I know you already said who your name is, but I mean, tell me who Lisa is. Tell me about yourself.
Well,
Is this a hard question?
yeah, what am I supposed to say?
I don't know. Walk me through a day in the life of Lisa.
I wake up 15 minutes before I have to go to work. I put on stupid clown clothes. I go sit at my desk.
You are a professional clown, correct?
No, I'm a librarian.
Okay. Same thing, am I right? But
Super Hands disapproves.
Okay.
I think about my dog.
Yeah.
I come home to my dog. I kiss my dog. And then I enjoy this awesome house. And I go to thrift stores. And go to IKEA and drink coffee.
Do you recall how we first met?
Yeah, I saw you in a play and your nose was really cute.
So you say.
Yep.
Superhands disagrees. Disagrees very strongly.
Superhands, you have a very good nose, too.
Yeah.
But the first thing I ever said about you was I turned to my friend Jenny, and I was like, that guy's gorgeous.
Well, thank you.
Yep.
And then didn't you make a comment about wanting to feed me cakes?
Oh, yeah, because you were a stick dude.
Yeah, I was very, very skinny back then.
Well,
I had a belt that wrapped like 2 or 3 times around my waist.
It was so
big.
stupid. Why wouldn't you get a smaller belt or cut the belt?
Yeah, I could have done that. It wasn't even a belt. It didn't even have holes. It was one of those ones that it just like the clasp just kind of like clamps onto it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
There were a lot of things I was doing wrong at that point in my life.
Oh, yeah. But I will be feeding you cakes. I made a cake last night.
Yep.
And I followed all of the instructions.
Awesome.
And Superhands didn't even want to lick the bowl.
What? Why?
I have no idea.
What did you put in that cake?
The ingredients.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you have fed me many cakes over the years, and I am very thankful.
Yep.
There's so back in the day, I don't know who will be listening to this, but back in the day, there was a band that we really liked called Tally Hall. They were a local band from Ann Arbor, Michigan. And I was really into them at one point. Lisa made me a birthday cake with like their logo on it. So like she decorated it to look like that. And it was really cool. And then we put it on Facebook, and then they used it as their Facebook profile picture for quite a while.
That was awesome.
That was really cool. So whenever we would see them at a concert, I would be like, oh, hey, remember that picture? That was my cake. So they immediately had a frame of reference for who I was.
They knew that he had some fan cred.
Yep. So, I guess I don't know what else to ask you.
Yeah, I thought I was just going to be talking and doing stuff for 5 minutes and you weren't going to be in the room.
Yeah, that's not.
I thought it was going to be a conglomeration of a audio birthday card.
No, I mean, not really. If that were the case, so much of it would be completely unusable because I guarantee most of the people coming today have never been in front of a mic before.
Okay, well, I was going to do
you want to do it? Do you just want me to leave the room and you can do it?
No, because that would go off script for everything else.
Okay.
But I was going to tap on the microphone and try to do like a birthday ASMR.
Okay.
Here comes your cake. I worked very hard on it. Can you hear the candles crackling? I brought you some pop too. It's a nice, lovely green color. Oh, you don't like the green pop? No, don't worry. I have very, very many options for you.
Excuse me, ma'am. I would like to check into this hotel. I've been waiting for 20 minutes.
So that blew my plan out the window, but that's okay because it wasn't going to be funny beyond 2 seconds.
Okay.
Maybe 2 minutes if I was on.
Yeah.
I was really tired yesterday.
Oh, yeah?
I came home from work and I slept for 3 hours.
Is that a long time?
Yeah, like a 3-hour nap.
Okay.
I normally can't even fall asleep.
Yeah.
But I was watching The Simpsons when I was asleep, and it was really, really affecting my dreams, especially the Mr. Burns is the alien with the X-Files.
Oh, yeah. Good episode.
You know, the one where Mops brings you love, Mops brings you peace.
Don't let Mops get away. Break Mop's legs. Yeah.
That is an inside joke. We are not insane. So yeah, that I woke up after that episode was done, but I woke up and I was like, after that dream, surely that episode played. So I looked back and yep, it had played.
Okay.
So I was right about that. And I need you to prompt me with some more questions.
Okay. I mean, we're over 5 minutes. If you want to keep going, we can keep going. But otherwise, I've got other stuff I can do before everybody else gets here.
Oh, so he's too busy to prod me for audio.
All right, here. I'm
Ew! No,
audio.
He's stabbing me with his toenails. This interview is done.
All right. Thank you very much. Lisa, I love you very much. You are my wife, and I am so happy to be married to you.
Awesome, 'cause you're stuck with me forever.
Yep.
Thank you.
So, I guess, tell me who you are.
I'm Barb Reddy.
Okay. Welcome, Barb. Thank you for coming to my birthday party.
Thank you.
How are you doing today?
Pretty good. pretty good.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm basically trying to kind of have like just like a little slice of all of my friends' lives is what I'm trying to do here. So if you need to take a minute to do so, go ahead. If you can, I want you to tell me, who is Barb? Tell me just a little bit about yourself. Super hands, go away.
I like to knit and crochet. I like to make homemade bread.
Okay.
My cat is my favorite person, Gary. He's the most important person, Gary.
Okay. What's a typical day in your life like?
Doing laundry, doing dishes, vacuuming, sweeping, whatever needs to be around the house.
Okay.
And I love to read.
Sure.
I read every day, even if it's just reading off my e-reader in a book or listening to audiobooks.
Okay, cool. What's your favorite book?
Bleak House.
Okay, what's that about?
It's about these orphans that come to stay with Mr. Jarndyce, and they're having a court suit for their grandfather or great-grandfather left a will. Mm-hmm. And Mr. Jarndyce, who has the orphans come, he wants to marry the one girl ever since she was a little kid.
Okay.
But then she ends up marrying somebody else, and he ends up giving her a second Bleak House.
Okay.
And he was always single.
Sure. Okay. What is... I need to come up with like stuff to actually talk to people about. Tell me a joke. If you can think of a joke.
I can't.
Okay. That's fine. Let's say you were to leave a message for somebody to find in 10 years. What would the message be? If you don't have anything, that's fine.
Just observe people really closely.
Just observe people closely. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Shoot. See, I've I thought this would be easier than it is. How did we meet?
At the library, your wife kept saying, Gabe, how much she loves Gabe.
Right.
And then I seen you one day when you came in to talk to her. Mm-hmm. And then we started playing Dungeons and Dragons together. Yeah, after about a year.
Okay, yeah, you've been coming to D&D at the library for quite a while.
Yeah,
actually. Like probably more than most people that have played there.
Yeah.
How do you enjoy that so far?
I like it because you get to make up your own story, and eventually I'll learn how to do that.
Sure.
I'm starting to.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's a little rough because the games in the library are so short. You know, usually when you play D&D, like a typical session is like 4 or more hours at a time. And then you a lot of the time you'll meet weekly or every other week or something. And so a lot of the time you're getting a much more complex story. You're getting just a lot more content in the same amount of time. So with us, it's a little hard to run a game like that. And I'm sure as a player, maybe you don't know the difference. Maybe you don't know what a regular session is like. But
no, I don't.
But if you're ever able to actually start playing in an actual game, if that's something you're interested in, I'm sure it'll be quite a different experience.
Yeah. Maybe we should get the whole group together here.
Maybe it's all a matter of how much time I have. That's the thing.
Right, because you work.
Yeah, I work. I have my weekly podcast, which is a lot of work. So, yeah. So I'm a busy person, but I would love to actually get into like a weekly game again sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something else to talk about. After like 3 or 4 more people, I'm sure I'll have this down. So you said what your favorite book was. What types of genres of books do you usually like to read?
Nonfiction. Mm-hmm. The classics I like a lot.
Okay.
I like classics.
I've actually never really read like pretty much anything that could be considered like a classic novel. I've never read. I've absorbed a lot of stuff through cultural osmosis.
Do you have a Kindle? You can get them for free, most of them.
Okay. I'm sure I have a Kindle app. I don't know if I have an actual Kindle though.
Oh, okay. You might be able to get them for free.
Yeah, probably. I'm sure if I tried, I could get a hold of them. It's just I don't really sit down and read very much. You know what I mean?
No.
I listen to audiobooks sometimes. I suppose I could try some of those. Of like the classics, I mean.
Yeah, my aunt got me listening to audiobooks when I was a little kid.
Yeah. I was thinking recently. I feel like I would really enjoy making audiobooks, like the recording part of.
You have a
audiobooks.
good voice for it.
Well, thank you. Just personally speaking, I think I have a terrible voice. There's a lot of things about my voice I hate, but I think that I make up for my natural voice with enthusiasm and practice, I guess. Yep. So I don't know. Maybe someday in a few years I'll be world famous audiobook reader, because those are famous, right?
Yep.
There's like all those other famous audiobook readers. There's that one guy, and then the other guy person, too, I guess.
And that one lady, remember her?
Oh yeah, that one lady. Yeah, she had that voice. She read that book. Yeah, that's pretty good. All right, well, I think that'll do it for us. So thank you, Barb.
Okay, thank you for having me.
Shaking hands. So why don't we start off by having you tell me who you are?
I'm Alex Crumwitty, and I'm Jimmy's boyfriend in the primary way we know each other. So
that's how we met. Yeah.
So
what would you say a day in the life of Alex Crumwitty is like? Did I pronounce it right? I don't know if I've ever said your last name out loud. I've seen it written so many times.
Yeah, that's close enough.
Okay. So what would you say a day in your life is like?
It's weird because they vary so much.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's like 99% of them include, going to the gym at some point, which usually, whether that's like, because I do the personal training.
Sure.
So I do that. Sometimes I've been doing that lately, like first thing in the morning.
Okay.
But that depends on whether it's first thing in my morning or whether that's the last thing in my day.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
So it's like, if we're talking about the day, then
just pick a day and describe that day. Sorry.
Probably, yeah.
The dog is barking in the other room.
Yes.
So, you play D&D, right? Or you have played D&D? I figured that's probably an easy topic to talk about. What do you look for in a D&D game?
I would say mechanical interest.
Okay. So like interesting mechanics.
Yeah. It depends on what you're talking about in terms of a campaign to play with, like a group to play with, or are you talking about like a type of RPG in the D&D sense? Because
that's a good question. I guess let's say you're going to join a D&D game, explicitly a D&D campaign. Mm-hmm. Let's say it's going to be a long-term campaign.
Yeah.
What are some things that you hope will happen?
I would say good mechanical interest. I like grid combat.
Okay.
I would say interesting stuff going on with like more monstrous races, because my favorite race in the general common races are like half ogre.
Okay.
In like 3.5 in D&D.
See, it's weird. I always gravitate towards human. Always it feels weird trying to play a character that is not human in D&D. So I'm weird like that, I guess.
Maybe that's the thing, because I don't quite feel in the normal human sense, because I'm a big 300 plus 6'3" bodybuilder type, so I gravitate more towards the half ogre, that kind of like bigger, kind of out of place guy. Sure. So,
what type of classes do you usually play in D&D?
Well, usually, Warlock is my favorite class.
Oh, because your license plate is a variation of
my license plate,
Warlock.
My Twitter handle, my online handle, and so many other places is Warlock or Red Warlock or other things like that.
Sure. I don't know if I follow you on Twitter. I'll have to get that when we're done.
But unfortunately, it doesn't mix well with the half ogre as my favorite choice.
I can understand that. Yeah.
So it kind of I'll go more towards like ranger types or barbarian types or druid types.
Okay. So, you played 4th edition, right?
Yes, it is. I did not play it enough. It is my favorite edition, but very few people like it.
I know, because you said you like grid combat, and I love grid combat. Like that was 4th edition was so good for that. I like non-grid combat for different reasons, but like a good 4th edition campaign, oh man, I would give so much for that.
I never had a chance to actually really play in a game because 4th edition, it was either I was the only one who was willing to run it, or the other games that were starting to put together but never really got off the ground, or it's like
Yeah,
it never really sustained itself.
I was in a really good one, like right when 4th edition came out, and it went on for maybe like 6 months, had like a definite ending.
Yeah.
And every game I've tried to run since has been trying to recreate that.
Yeah.
Unintentionally, of course. But yeah, it was... When it works, oh man, it's so good.
Well, it's like the group that we're playing in with now. There's some guys that live up near us, and this one guy, he's not a very experienced GM. Yeah. We recommended 4th edition for him for it. He's wanted to run a high fantasy game.
Okay,
4th edition is very easy to GM, but he also wanted to start something at high level. So we're going to be starting off with 20th level characters.
Oh boy, yeah.
So it's like I'm putting together this character that is a Githyanki warlock.
Okay,
with I don't know if you've seen that they have a packed dragon. Because in like regular D&D, they have like 3rd edition and other editions, they have the Githyanki have a social pact with red dragons to ride them. I'm
not as familiar with Githyanki as I would like to be, so I was not aware of that.
Well, so they have in 4th edition specifically, they have because they have monsters that have a mount designation.
Okay,
so they have a mount. Red dragon called a pact dragon for Githyanki specifically.
That's really cool.
So that was the GM is giving us one gimme each, like one artifact or something like that. I'm getting a pact dragon specifically as my thing.
Well, good job and good luck.
So it'll be interesting to play with that when we actually get it together, but we're still kind of formulating things.
Okay, well, cool. I wish you the best of luck with that.
Yeah.
I guess we're just about done. But if you could give, I don't know, if you could give a piece of advice to the rest of the world, what would that piece of advice be?
Lift more weights.
There you go. Awesome. So. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
So let's start off by having you tell me who you are.
Well, I'm Spencer Woolley. I'm a friend of yours through the library. We did a couple of D&D sessions together that you were DMing, and I met you and Julius through the exact same way. Julius being one of my really good friends.
Yes. I tried to get a hold of him. I don't know if he uses Facebook very much. I also sent him a text. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think so. But he's also been really, really busy. I know lately he picked up a second job, and he's just completely booked, like to the minute.
Yeah. Okay. Well, but we're not here to talk about him. We're here to talk about you.
There you go.
So I guess give me, what is a day in the life of Spencer?
A day in the life of Spencer, I think really could be two separate things, because we're either talking about work Spencer or like casual, the 10 minutes that I have to myself kind of Spencer.
Sure. I guess whichever. I guess let's say not work. Let's not worry about that. Let's talk about just you. You have a day off. What do you do?
All right. Well, I've been getting back into model making lately. I've always really, really liked the Warhammer universe, fantasy, 40K. We don't talk about Age of Sigmar.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, just the modeling community in itself, I've always been a part of, but I never really had like the capital to get really, really into it. But I've come into kind of more of a kit bashing kind of way, where you take multiple kits together and just stick them together with glue and putty and
make something new out of the pieces you already got.
Exactly, because I always really like to make things unique and customizable, to where I'm really proud of what I made, and it's something that's not just out of a box. You know what I mean? And it's a good outlet, too, because I really, really enjoy artwork. I like to paint and to draw and all that, but I don't really have the time to do that much. So it blends two of my favorite things, kind of the construction aspect of it all and design, but then I get to paint it, and
sure,
it works exactly like, an oil painter does. You put a background on, which is like, your first coat.
Oh, yeah.
Priming it, and then you build up the layers, you do your shines last and patinas and all that sorts of stuff, you know. You even can experiment around. I've been doing like ink washes lately, which pool in shallow areas to where once you wipe it off with like, a toothbrush or a cloth, depending on if you want like heavy scuffing or not, it adds this really, really nice wear to fabrics and armors, to where if you've nicked it or scratched it anywhere,
it's going to be really prominent.
Exactly. That wash stays in little scratches, so it makes it look aged. It's really, really nice. That's
really cool. I've been wanting to get into like miniature painting for a long time. I even got, not this last Christmas, but the previous Christmas, I got a miniature painting kit, and it's been like almost 2 years, I think, and I still haven't actually done it.
It's such an intimidating craft too, because you look at some of these like competition grade things with all these beautiful layers, and you think, okay, how the hell did that not get just 3 printed on there?
Right.
I'm not at that caliber, and you don't want to mess it up too, because I'm sure you've seen some of the horror stories of people just dunking a miniature in, brown like Crayola paint and
Yeah.
putting little googly eyes on it and going, oh, perfect.
Right.
Ragnar the Barbarian.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all practice,
Sure.
And,
yeah, as with any craft, I imagine.
Exactly. Yep.
I've been into model building a little bit, like specifically Gundam model building. Not really like hardcore, but I have, if you look over to your left, I have perfect grade Wing Zero custom from Gundam Wing Endless Waltz.
Fantastic.
And I used to build. I also have around the room. I have a few other ones too.
Yeah, I saw your full lineup of Gundam Zero. That was what I watched as a kid.
Yeah, I enjoy like putting them together. I don't really do all like the details and stuff very well. I always see pictures people do where like they've like painted them or whatever, and I'm always so jealous. But that's just it's a step I've never taken.
Right, and with the Gundam models too. I mean, they're already so nicely painted. It's more of a finished product.
Yeah, most of the time you don't need it, but that extra little like 5% will if you're willing to put it in.
Yeah, but I mean, the wash that I was talking about is super non-invasive to where it doesn't really stain anything else. So if you want to make one look less new and a little bit more battle-worn, that's an easy way to kind of make it, a little bit more your own model, is just kind of scuff it up with a hard bristle brush and then put thin coats of diluted ink over it, let it pool in those areas for, maybe a couple of seconds, and then wipe it all off,
Okay. Cool. Maybe not with my big one, but I might try that with some of my other models.
Absolutely.
Soon. Okay. Well, I think that's mostly what we need for today. But let me ask you, if you could give a piece of advice to the rest of the world, what would that piece of advice be?
In one sentence, I'd say just let it go.
Okay.
I think a lot of something I've been running into with a lot of people I interact with lately is they really get hung up on problems they have no control over, or things that they're not they wish were better, but they're not really gonna do anything to make it better. Just kind of a general down in the dumps kind of attitude. But something I've been really, really trying to do lately is just not let it get to me.
I can take that advice myself. All right. Well, thank you so much, Spencer,
thank you for having
coming
me
with us today. And I guess that'll do it.
All right.
Thank you. So I guess let's start out by having you tell me who you are.
I am Bridget Lee Pierce.
Okay. And what is a day in the life of Bridget Lee Pierce?
On a normal weekday, wake up at 5 a.m., out the door by 6, get to work by 7, spend my entire day doing citations for custom textbooks and formatting digital versions of those books before they go to the printer. And then I head back home from Ann Arbor back to Howell, kill time for a few hours, and then fall asleep.
Okay. There you go. Yeah. You said you get up at 5 in the morning. I get home from work at 4 in the morning. If I'm in bed by 6, I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah.
So
I go to sleep at like 9.
Yeah. But I used to work the morning shift for a few months when I first started my job. And when I first started there, I thought like, oh yeah, I mean, I start work at like 4:30 in the morning. That's great because then I'll be done by work at like 2 p.m. And then I got the whole day ahead of me. Then I realized, no, then I have to go to bed at like 5.
Yeah. Not a lot of day left.
Yeah. So is there, I guess I probably should ask this before we started, is there anything you would like to talk about for a few minutes?
I got nothing on my mind. I could talk about anything though.
So I guess let's, so you play tabletop RPGs, correct?
Yep.
We've actually played a little bit of D&D together. What type of characters do you tend to play when you play D&D? Or I guess you've probably been a dungeon master more than a player.
I do dungeon master a lot, but I also, I just make characters for fun. And usually the most fun characters that I come up with, the ones I enjoy the most, and the ones that I play the most are usually, elf or much more obscure races, and casters. I prefer casters over, fighters and things of that nature.
Okay.
But yeah, definitely casters, definitely like elf or Kalashtar or, something wild like that.
Yeah. Have you played much Eberron as
I haven't, but they added all of the Eberron stuff to 5th edition, and that's why I got into the Kalashtar. I'd never heard of them before.
Yeah.
I mean, all I knew of Eberron was, Warforged.
Right. That's all most people know about them. The Wizards of the Coast just came out with an Eberron book for 5th edition. I'm really excited to get pretty soon. So, what is when you play? Let's say you're going to be playing in a campaign. You're not going to be running it. You're going to be playing in it. What are some things that you hope you will encounter? What are some things you hope will happen over the course of the game?
Are you talking about like how the game is played, or like the kind of like encounters, or
whichever you would like to, however you want to translate that?
Well, a few things then. I would say like the biggest thing for me is that it's not a very railroady game. Like I want some direction, but also the freedom to explore the world in our own way.
Sure.
I always hope for a group that has a leader. Someone who will step up and say, like, all right, this is what we need to do next.
Yeah. It's always rough when the game doesn't have that because everybody kind of just flounders around.
Yeah, and there's a lot of discussion about, like, well, should we go and do this? And I don't know. And then it gets, a whole, session is people deciding what to do and not doing anything.
Yeah.
So that one really bugs me, but I really love encounters with multiple different types of enemies so that you have to employ different tactics to deal with the different types. So you have, archers up on a ledge, you've got, a healer hidden behind a corner, and then you've got like the big boss guy giving commands or something like that, Yeah. So there's a whole like range of things to deal with. And it's even better when there's environmental effects to deal with,
Sure.
You've got, I don't know, rivers of lava flowing through and things like that make movement more difficult, and you have to really plan on how you're going to get somewhere. And you're not just using attack spells, you're using utility to get to places, to do things, that kind of stuff. And I love creative problem solving.
Okay.
Whether a DM or a player,
yeah.
I want people to look at the environment and ask, like, okay, well, what are the walls made of? What's in the room other than just these people? What can I use to my advantage? That sort of stuff. And get creative with the ways that they handle the situation they're in.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think that all sounds awesome. Yeah, anytime a game can really have dynamic encounters and encounters where like the environment is significant and such, yeah, I think it's a great place to go. So I guess, I think that'll be enough for today. But one more thing before we go, I will ask you if you can give one piece of advice to the world. What would that piece of advice be?
I want to think of something clever.
It doesn't have to be clever. It could just be good advice.
Just be open-minded. Just never think you're done learning, and never, ever think you know best.
Sure.
Ever.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Bridget. Thank you for coming on here.
Right.
So let's start off by having you tell me, who are you?
That's a good question. And the answer is, my name is Becky. Becky Locke. L-O-C-K-E, not Lockee. I am your friend from high school, Pete's girlfriend.
Okay.
For 7 years now.
Wow. Yeah, you guys. You've been together as long as I've known. Well, I guess as long as I've known you. That's a dumb thing to say. Well, as long as I've been back in touch with Peter.
Right.
Because we moved to Tennessee, so I didn't talk to him for a really long time.
Yeah.
But so it sounds like you guys are doing pretty well.
Yeah. So far, so good.
Okay. What would you say is a day in the life of Becky Locke?
Oh, boy. Well, I'll wake up and I have 5 cats at home.
Okay.
In our 1-bedroom apartment.
I knew you had cats. I didn't realize you had 5.
Yeah, I'm kind of a sucker. I found a cat last summer on the streets and brought her in, and then, surprise, she was pregnant.
Oh, wow.
So we got that going. So I got to get the cats fed and make sure that they didn't spill water because they're pains in the ass, and they'll do that.
I just realized your shirt.
Oh, yeah. It says, meow, I'm a cat.
There you go.
And it makes me laugh because it seems like last few times I've been over here, I just happen to be wearing a bunch of cat clothes.
Maybe.
Which I feel like Lisa may or may not appreciate, considering she has her rival that likes to hang out around outside the house.
Yeah, there's a neighborhood cat that Lisa is not fond of.
Yeah, because I've also got the socks.
Oh,
too.
Look at that.
Yeah, I am a cat lady. But yeah, I'll wake up, make sure that the cats haven't destroyed the entire apartment.
Mm-hmm.
I just started a new job a couple weeks ago, and that starts about an hour after Pete goes to work. So what we've been doing recently is I take him to work and then get back home, get ready for work, go weld metals and materials, come home, and we'll sit and watch YouTube videos and eat pizza and talk about Pokemon, and It's not an exciting life, but it's honest work.
There you go. So as of this recording, the new Pokemon just launched a few days ago. Mm-hmm. And have you gotten or have you not gotten? I know you're one of the people that is pretty upset about some of the changes they've made.
I am upset, and I have not gotten it.
Mm-hmm.
But I've talked to people who have. I have plenty of friends who have been playing it. And the general consensus is it's not nearly as bad as the internet has made it out to be.
Sure.
But it's also not nearly as good as Game Freak has made it out to be.
I can understand that.
It's very much in the median. I am a completionist. I do want to complete the national dex.
Sure.
And then also I've been paying money annually for the Pokemon Bank to transfer my Pokemon into future games. And since I can't do that, I'm a little miffed. But I think what I'll do is eventually buy it if I find it on sale or a used copy.
Sure.
But yeah.
Aside from Let's Go, I haven't bought a Pokemon game in years. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't really follow a lot of the stuff that was going on. So I didn't actually understand why everybody was so upset. Like the way I saw it, like, why do you need 1,000 Pokemon? You're only ever going to use like 10 of them.
Right.
But I actually, because I think I asked about it on Facebook and you explained part of it. I very much am behind you with you've been paying for this service under the assumption that it will be valid for all these future games. And I can understand people being very upset about that. I personally, again, mainly because I don't subscribe to that.
Sure.
Doesn't affect me. I'll probably get the game pretty soon, but I can definitely much better understand why people would be so upset.
Yeah, and there were other issues too.
It's like the graphics aren't as good. They're reusing assets and so on.
And which I don't necessarily have an issue with in itself, but Game Freak specifically said that they were limiting how many Pokemon were going to be in the game
so they could have better graphics.
They could have better graphics, and then for them to just reuse them, it's a little sketchy.
Yeah, no, I totally understand that.
But yeah, I'll eventually get it. I have still been playing Let's Go. I got Let's Go Eevee. Pete got Let's Go Pikachu.
Sure.
So because you always have to split.
Of course.
One person gets one, the other person gets the other. But we've also been playing the Pokemon trading card game.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you guys have been playing that for
a couple years now. Yeah. We've been playing competitively. We're actually in a league that meets once every other week. We're talking about trying to get other, maybe a larger group of people together to do a larger league with actual tournaments that are sanctioned. And we've also traveled to different places for tournaments. We just this past winter went to just outside St. Louis, Missouri.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And we bombed, but it was fun.
Sure. Well, that's the important thing.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a gaming store close to where you live?
Unfortunately, no, because we live within the city of Detroit.
Sure.
So
it's a little tough.
Things are scarce. So what we've been doing is going out to Warren to Eternal Games, which is at 11 and Hoover.
I think I'm Facebook friends with somebody who frequents that store. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. But we've been going there, but their selection in cards is lacking. Mm-hmm. It's been hard to get people to get out there. So we actually are talking about going over to RIW up the street, up Middle Belt in Livonia. I think that's it's right off of 96.
Okay.
So
I might know what you're talking about. I don't go to a lot of gaming stores, but the two you've mentioned, I think, ring a bell.
Yeah, but it's a matter of trying to find the most people together to play, because people think of card games that they go to play, and the first thing that pops in people's heads is Magic the Gathering.
Of course.
Which, sure, and it's been around for a long time. You know, people will tell me, "Oh, I didn't know that Pokemon was popular again." Mm-hmm. Turns out it's always been popular. Yeah. It's just been very much under the radar.
Right. Okay. Well, I think we're coming up on time. So before we close out, let me just ask you, if you could give one piece of advice to the world, what would that piece of advice be?
Don't be too afraid to make fun of yourself, and don't take life too seriously, because you don't get out of it alive.
There you go. That's pretty good. Thank you very much.
Not a problem, Gabe.
Thank you. So why don't we start out by having you tell me who you are?
I'm Peter. That is all you requested from me.
There you go. Playing it by the book.
Yes.
I see. Okay. So why don't you tell me what the average day is like for Peter? You wake up, you are Peter.
Yes.
What happens next?
So I wake up. It's usually 5 a.m. and I've got another 40 minutes before I need to move from bed. So I don't.
You wake up that early. Ooh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Unintentional. It's like before the alarm.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's take a nap, wake up.
Sure.
The alarm, whatever. Or some days it's I wake up on alarm 3. That's the one where I have 5 minutes to be out the door.
Sure. That's what I'm like. Yeah.
Get out of the apartment building. Walk to work. I only work a few blocks away, which is really convenient.
Cool.
And then I do my thing. It's like small assembly and
Sure.
yeah, lunch with some people. I enjoy them. A lot of animal lovers, big Tolkien people. I don't know if there's a phrase for that.
Nerds.
Yeah, Tolkien nerds. And then the other half of the day, walk home, hang out on the computer, read news till Becky gets home, and then hang out with her. And then, depending on the day, it's watch something, go out for food. It's
typical everyday stuff.
Yeah.
Cool. So you were recently in our Halloween terrible RPG game session. That was a lot of fun. I'm sorry. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I don't know what your experience was.
I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Cool.
How did viewers seem to like it? Or?
Well, it's just for our patrons, and we generally don't get feedback on those.
Okay.
I don't know if it's because nobody is listening to them or not.
Do they have play counts or something like that?
I don't think so. There might be a way to find it, but if so, I've never figured that out.
Right.
I only know if anybody's seen it, if anybody comments on it, which nobody has. Yeah. So, I enjoyed it. At least that was my main goal, was that we, the group, have a good time doing it.
Yeah. And I would definitely say we did. We had, the couple of mishaps with some bad tears.
Sure.
I would love to play I would love to play Terrible again for something. I'm not sure how. I know it's definitely just a one-off game, isn't it?
I mean, I think so. I feel like it lends itself to a one-off type thing. I mean, in theory, you could the next session just make a new sheet.
Take a long rest. You get a new sheet.
I guess. Yeah. I don't know. I think it was intended to just be a quick little one-shot thing. So you play other tabletop games, correct?
Yes, I play
either RPGs or non-RPGs.
Yeah, I play a lot of card games, like Magic. I'm very much into Pokemon. Keyforge is also pretty fun.
Okay. I've heard of that.
Yeah. It's you buy a deck and it's ready to go, and you can play with anyone. A lot of fun with that.
I think one of the guys on another podcast we're friends with took part in a tournament where he was the only person that played. So he basically just bought a deck and then got whatever the prize was, which I think might have been another deck.
It really could have been, yeah.
Yeah. What is, not counting role-playing games, what is your favorite board game?
Okay. So if you ever see a unopened copy of Risk Legacy.
Okay.
Pick that up. I will pay you for it. I want it. Risk is a lot of fun for me.
Yeah.
Whether it's hole up on Australia or
of course,
or the real strategy of take North America until you can take South America, and then eventually you will be rewarded with overwhelming victory.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what's the difference between Risk and Risk Legacy?
Risk Legacy, that's the classic game. Legacy version is every time you win, the winner writes their name on the board.
Oh.
And there's different effects that can happen during the gameplay.
Interesting. So the legacy part is that it uses previous times you've played the game. That's really cool.
Definitely why I want a new one. So, because every game is going to end up different.
Sure.
I remember on one that we were playing, we didn't like people abusing Australia.
Mm-hmm.
So we put a nuclear. We nuked something near it.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever you would move units into it, you would lose however many units.
Interesting.
Yeah. So you and then there's also strongholds where even if you have less army units, you can roll as though you had more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, well, we're coming up on time, I think, but before we close out, let me ask you, if you could give a piece of advice to the world, what would that piece of advice be?
I would say vote.
Vote?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Peter.
Yes, of course.
Thank you. Okay. So let's start out by having you tell me who you are.
My name is George Kleinert, and I am Gabe's dad.
Yes. Hello, Dad.
Hello, son.
We've known each other for quite some time now.
Yes.
Why don't you tell me what a day in the life of Gabe's dad is like?
A day in the life of Gabe's dad. Well, currently, I'm working out in Novi at the company I work for builds automotive assembly lines.
Okay.
The line that would build the body.
Sure.
Later on, stuff gets finished and all that, but just the bare metal body is what our tools make.
Mm-hmm.
And the company I work for is Kamau, which is part of Fiat Chrysler currently.
Okay.
Although it wasn't when I first started working with them. But we have a large building out in Novi that's a build shop, and we can build a pretty big section of an assembly line in our shop. So
like the whole line itself is what you build, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. I remember because we moved to the new plant, I remember hearing that they had to set up a test assembly line somewhere else before they could start moving it into the building or something. I'm wondering if that has anything to do with what you do.
Yeah, it'd be like that.
Okay. Shoot, what because most of the people here either play D&D or play other games or something.
I notice you have very nerdy friends.
I do have very nerdy friends,
which is not a bad thing, but
right.
There it is.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to think of what to talk to you about. What is a good memory from raising your son Gabe? What is a good memory you have? And you can define that however you want.
Well, I remember we went. Your class went on a field trip to Washington, D.C., and I went as a adult chaperone. Yeah.
I think possibly within arm's reach, maybe not exactly. I think over in that corner in a big stack of papers, I have a class photo from that has everybody and you're in there.
I remember that photo.
I remember that trip. That was because it was pre 9/11. It was like 1998, I think, is when that happened. 1998 or 1999. And so we were in this tiny little airport, and I remember there was a part where I had like a water bottle, and instead of just saying like, oh, you can't take that water bottle, they told me to drink some of it to make sure that it wasn't like poisoned or explosive or something. I don't know. It's weird, and it's not something you would encounter nowadays, because nowadays you just can't bring a bottle over however many ounces or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, I remember that being a fun trip. That was at the end of my 8th grade year, so it would have been 1999, I think, early 1999. And that was a lot of fun. I haven't really thought about that much in a very long time, other than just knowing that I have that photo.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I guess tell me a joke. Do you have a joke you would like to tell me?
Sure. There was a military guy. He might have been Air Force. It doesn't really matter to the joke what type of what branch of the military he was in. But he had to take an airplane flight someplace, and seated next to him was a young mother with a baby in arms, small child.
Mm-hmm.
She was nursing him.
Sure.
Well, they did the takeoff, and that went well. And the young man started making small talk with the seatmate there, the woman, the mother, and he said, "Boy, your child there is quite hungry." And the mother was a little bit embarrassed about the situation.
Sure. As anybody would be, I think, in that situation. Go on.
And she said, "Well, yeah, the pediatrician, knowing that we were going to go on this flight, suggested that nursing would help him with his ears, with the change in air pressure.
Yeah, and
that would help the ears adjust." And the young man said, "That's very interesting." He said, in our basic training, when we were preparing to take a airplane flight, they suggested chewing gum.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, thank you very much. I guess we're coming up on time, but let me just ask you if there is one piece of advice you could give the world, what would that piece of advice be?
Love your neighbor.
There you go. Awesome. All right. Thank you very much. Okay. Let's start out by having you tell me who you are.
I am Laura O'Connor, and I met Gabe through his nerdy wife, who always claims that Gabe is the one who's a nerd, which is a lie. They're both equally nerdy.
Okay, because I am a nerd. I just want to get that out there.
Yes, but you're both equally nerdy.
In different ways. Fact. I can see that, yeah.
She's a librarian, an art history major. Give me a break.
That's true. It's all true. Yeah. So what is a day in the life of Laura O'Connor like?
Well, lately it's just doing a lot of crafting.
Okay. What sort of crafting have you been doing?
I've been doing a lot of crocheting. I've been making soap cozies or blankets. And I have been making lotion bars and jewelry.
Okay.
And I've been running around, running errands for my husband, and just been very busy.
Sure. You've been making soap for a long time, right?
Well, not that long, and I haven't made soap lately, but because I've been so busy with the crocheting, because crocheting is so time-consuming.
Sure.
That I haven't been able to make any soap, but I want to. But with the Flood the Streets with Art, that deadline is looming.
Oh, sure. Okay. Well, the reason I asked about the soap is just because we, I think like a couple of years ago, I think Lisa started getting some soap from you,
yes.
if I'm not mistaken. And
she loves it.
She does. And she got upset with me because I had just bought a whole bunch of bar soap because there was a particular type of bar soap that I really liked. And I was like, oh, I'll go stock up. And so she's been mad at me that I've had all of this bar soap because she was getting all this better soap. And so as a result, I've been spending the last 2 years trying to just use up all of the old soap so we can move on to the good stuff. She keeps using some of the good stuff in the meantime, but I've been trying to just use up all this old soap so I can be rid of it, I guess.
Well, I will be making more soap. I just have not, like I said, this looming deadline.
Sure.
Because I made 2 baby blankets for a 3-year-old and a 7-year-old. And then I'm making another blanket for a vet who lives in Texas.
Okay.
And she's not a baby because she's in her 60s.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she might be, because she's a Vietnam vet, so she might be in her 70s. I'm not quite
I think we're all babies in some way or another.
Yes. Yes. So
So you've been coming to D&D at the library for some time, right?
Yes, I enjoy it. It's a highlight of my month because you always make me laugh. You and Geomancer Steve,
yeah,
who's my honorary son because he was born a year after I got married. So.
Yeah, that's how that works.
That's how that works. Yes, yes.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's been great having you. I was talking with Barb earlier, and we were talking about the games at the library, and I was telling her that it's really hard to run the games at the library. I mean, it's not hard to run the games at the library. It's hard to feel the games of the library they're very non-standard because when you're playing a game of D&D, like an actual game of D&D, typically the sessions are much, much longer and you're playing like much more often than once a month. So it's hard to come up with something that will be satisfying in that small amount of time. So I don't know, like what have you been enjoying? I mean, you said it was the highlight of your month, I guess, but has there been a particular time at the library that has been particularly good, or maybe something that's maybe on the lower end of your favorites? What are some more specific thoughts you've had about that?
I just always end up laughing.
Okay, so you like
that's all. I mean, everything that's going on. Mm-hmm. Politically is just not funny, and so this really gives me laughter and a sense of community because Barb usually shows up, Geomancer Steve, you always show up, so it's a funny community.
Yeah,
and so that's what I enjoy most.
Okay, cool. I think a lot of people that play D&D probably are in it for just laughing with their friends and such. Yes. Well, good. I'm really glad that I've been able to have that game for as long as I have, and hopefully I'll keep doing it for the foreseeable future.
That's good. That's good.
Well, we're pretty much coming up on time, but let me ask you, if you could give one piece of advice to the world, what would that piece of advice be? Try to be more kind. There you go. Be more kind. All right. Well, thank you very much, Laura. All righty. And I guess that'll do it. Okay. Thank you. Okay. All right. So why don't you start off by telling me who you are?
I'm Skyler. Jeff, you know Jeff?
Who?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jeff's fiance. And that's me. That's the only thing about me. Okay.
What is a typical day in the life of Skyler like?
So much naps.
Yeah.
I guess it depends if it's a work day or not.
Okay. Well, you pick a day and tell me about that day.
Okay. Well, today I woke up at 3 a.m. and then went back to sleep. And I woke up at 1 p.m. And then I did nothing, and then I came here.
That's a pretty exciting day, if I say so myself. So most of the people that I've been talking to have at least had some sort of like D&D experience, and I find that's an easy thing to get people to talk a lot about.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell me what experience you have had with D&D and or other tabletop role-playing games?
Well, my first game ever that I was part of, I was co-DMing.
Okay. Wow, so your first experience with the game. Wow. Okay.
I was not good. All I did was read from a book.
Yeah.
But it worked out pretty well, and then I started playing, and I'm really good at that. Because I
may say so myself.
Because I like punching stuff, and it's pretty much all you need to do in D&D. That's
pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay. What other than D&D, like other than role playing games, what are some games, possibly board games you like to play? What are some things you like to do?
Well, we do have a games day that we do almost every month, and we usually start off with the game. We didn't play test this at all.
Okay.
It gets people used to losing.
Sure.
And how to lose gracefully and often.
Would you say that you have had much experience with losing in games, though?
No, Skyler always wins.
Skyler always wins. That's
the house rule of every house I'm in.
Pretty much. I think I remember one time I won Mario Party.
Yes.
And that's I
was salty for a week.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I came to your house and I beat the pants off of you on Jackbox games.
That's true. Yeah. So you do tend to win.
Yes.
Stuff like that.
Yes. really all you need to know about me.
I guess Skyler always wins, and she takes a lot of naps. I think
that's where my power comes from.
Okay,
they're power naps for a reason.
Yeah, and you guest hosted one of our episodes a few months ago of our podcast.
I did
in April, along with Lisa. That was a lot of fun. I don't know what's some stuff that you hope to achieve in the future.
I just want to make more stuff.
Yeah.
That's my favorite thing to do is making stuff.
Okay.
That's about it.
Okay. Cool. Well, I guess let me move on to just one final question, I guess.
Okay.
If you could give one piece of advice to the world, what would that piece of advice be?
Try to be less shitty, I guess.
Okay. All right. That's not a bad piece of advice, I guess. Yeah. Okay. Do you have anything else you want to talk about?
I do have these pamphlets here. No, I'm good.
Okay.
It's weird having one of these in front of my face.
Okay. Yeah, I know. All right. So Jeff, Peter K via email says, do you have any special routines?
Wait, what?
Sorry. Do you have any special routines that you do to warm up before a session, such as playing a short board game with the group or listening to music in the car to get into character? You don't actually have to answer that question. Okay. Why don't you start off by telling me who you are?
My name is Jeff, and I am of the Homo sapiens sapien.
Sorry,
giggle at.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't know how to identify myself other than.
I mean, your name is a pretty good.
Yeah,
pretty good start.
I started with that.
Okay.
And I ended with very specific. What is the word? Taxonomy.
Okay. What would you say a typical day in the life of Jeff is like?
I do my best to wake up early, and then I sleep in.
Of course.
I'm going off of like a non-work day, because like there's nothing exciting about a work day.
I mean, it depends. Maybe if you're a stunt man.
Sure. Yeah, it depends on the job. I don't like my job, so why broadcast it?
I imagine even stuntmen are pretty blasé about their jobs.
Yeah.
You know, how many times are you going to take a punch?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, like stuntmen get, I don't know, it's a super dangerous job. Yeah. And, you get injured so much. I don't know. Well,
anyway.
But I'm not a stuntman.
Well, correct. Sorry.
But I don't know. I like to, I don't know. I have like a few like YouTube shows I like to watch. So I like to keep up with that. I like to watch a lot. I'm big into cooking shows on YouTube right now. So I'm trying to get into cooking more. I also watch a lot of like gameplay videos because I like video games.
Yeah.
And so and then I sit and stare at my computer and try to decide what game I want to play. And sometimes I end up just watching other people play games, which is fine. Like it's a perfectly fine form of entertainment. But like I'll be like, man, I should have played something.
I know exactly what you mean.
And then so like I'll go through Steam's like catalog and be like, well, I don't know what I can play out of the. I don't know what I want to play out of the games I already have. But maybe there's a new game I can spend money on.
Sure.
Which I shouldn't. But it's like, but this one's on sale, and I might like it. So I might as well get. No, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
You gonna edit that out?
No. This is going out live, Jeff.
Oh shoot! Oh,
there you go.
Right? Yeah, we got a sign that says "on the air." So shoot.
Yeah. So, shoot. I don't know what to ask you because we talk to each other all the time.
Yeah, like the beginning of our show is us, like doing a small recap of our lives.
What is your favorite meal?
My favorite meal, like specific meal. Well, like the one that holds the most like nostalgia and stuff for me that I enjoy a lot is my mother's chicken paprikash.
Okay. Or chicken oh my gosh. I think you have said that's how it's been called.
That's correct. Yes. That's what I don't know if that's what I called it, But I think it might have just been one of those things that my parents tried to get me to call.
Sure.
I don't know, so another example of that would be my grandmother wanted us to call her Grandma Cookie.
Okay.
She just wanted a nickname.
Yeah.
So she says, oh, call me Grandma Cookie. And but thinking back, she never gave us cookies. Okay. The best treat she would ever give us as kids is pizzelles, which are
they're
good.
Delicious.
We love pizzelles, but I would never call that a cookie.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's when you have a pizza and you cut it in the shape of an L for anybody who is not familiar.
I mean, I guess they're cookie-like.
Kind of.
Because they're
I could see someone calling them a cookie.
They're made from a batter, and then you put them in a press, like a
little waffle iron.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a tiny little.
Yeah. It's just they're very thin, more denser, cakier waffles, I guess. But they have a distinct flavor to them.
Yeah.
There's also chocolate pizzelles, which are amazing.
Okay.
But yeah, oh yeah, call me Grandma Cookie, because they just, my grandma just wanted a nickname.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never been a parent, so I don't understand that that side of it. So
my wife's grandma, once we had some people over at her house. I think we were staying with her when we were visiting from Tennessee or something. We had some friends over, and I think one of them wasn't sure what to call her, and she was like, "Call me Graham. Everyone does." And then Lisa and I looked at each other. Lisa looked at her brother. I think her cousin might have been over. We looked over at him. Nobody has ever called her Graham ever.
I don't know. That's just a very human thing, I guess. Because everybody wants a nickname.
Yeah.
But you can't just
you can't force a nickname.
You can't force a nickname. But I feel like when you're like a matriarch of the family sort of thing, you can kind of stretch it a bit. You can be like, call me Graham. Everyone does, and no one's gonna question you on it because
sure, Graham.
Yeah, sure. No, yeah. And then you start calling them Graham, but you put a little lilt on it that's sure thing, Graham.
To be fair, I have called her Graham many times specifically in reference to this event.
So
okay.
But where was I? Oh yeah, chicken. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Which is delicious. It's paprika. So it's just chicken in a paprika sauce.
Yeah, kind of like a creamy.
Yeah.
Paprika.
Yeah, it's a creamy paprika sauce with you saute the chicken or whatever and get the chicken flavor. It's delicious.
It's like a nice savory pasta dish.
Yeah, and then we would have it over. Some people have it just over regular noodles or something, but we would have it over spetzel.
Okay,
which is like a dumpling noodle sort of.
Yeah,
it's just like a flour, water, salt maybe mixture.
Yeah, I've had it at Frankenmuth, I think, which is like a big Dutch tourist attraction.
Sure.
Yeah.
There was one time we went to a restaurant we had never been to when I was younger, and I saw they had chicken paprikash on the menu, and I was like, getting that. Oh, I'm so excited.
I'm sure
and
it was nothing
nowhere near. It was watery sauce.
Yeah.
It was just regular curly egg noodles.
It's in a taco for some reason.
Yeah. It's it was so disappointing. And I remember trying to like it, and it's just it just was not anywhere near the chicken paprikash. And then I recently tried to make my mom's recipe, which wasn't her recipe. It was just a recipe that it was in an old cookbook she had.
Sure.
But and I tried to make it. It didn't turn out great, but it was close.
Okay.
It definitely hit the nostalgia.
Yeah.
It definitely hit that mark. So I think I've been cooking a little bit more lately, so I think I'm going to go back and try it again.
Well, cool. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
We are, as it is so easy for us to talk to each other,
right.
I think we are very much going over on time. So I guess let me finish out by asking you, if you could give one piece of advice to the world, what would that piece of advice be?
Take a moment to think of things in other people's perspectives.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's a good one. All right. Well, thank you very much, Jeff. You guys, thank you, Skyler, as well. I can't remember if I shook your hand earlier or not, but thank you.
Yeah.
And that's what the room noise sounded like on your birthday party, 2019.
It's pretty exciting.
Welcome to the Nowhere Men Project.
I was going to... What I was going to do is I was going to be like, all right, so we're talking about Nowhere Man episode 13, Through a Lens Darkly or whatever. I don't know.
Well, I'm so sorry then, as it is your birthday and I stole the joke. No,
it's fine. It's fine. So why don't we start out by having you tell me who you are?
This is Steve. I'm Steve.
Okay, sounds good. Why don't you walk me through a day in the life of Steve?
Sure. I overheard this question while I was waiting in the hallway because...
With a cup up against the door?
No, I had a cup of tea. That would have been messy. So I was thinking about it.
Yeah.
And I don't have too much of a typical day. I can tell you for sure every day I wake up and I write something.
Okay.
It's never a piece. It's never anything like that. I wake up and it's my attempt at calling shotgun on the day.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, so it's sometimes I will have spent some time thinking about whatever dream I had because a lot of times the dreams are important to me.
Yeah.
Not like in a dream deconstructionist kind of way, but in a sort of like, how did that feel? Because normally the dreams are not weird shit.
Yeah.
They are interactions with people.
Okay.
And so they're sort of a holodeck place for me to, experience bad, oftentimes, interactions with people or surprisingly good interactions with people.
Yeah.
So sometimes I have to extract something from that. If there's a lesson I got from some weird dream that I had,
sure,
I need to write that down. So that'll often be how I open. It's just a Google Doc every day. It used to be actual freehand paper, but then it's just easier.
It's easier.
I can actually do it from bed.
Yeah.
I don't have to get up.
I've heard people talk about like the benefits of that, like, visceral actually having a piece of paper, but it's just so much easier just to type.
It's so much easier to type. And there's a certain amount of once I actually get up and turn on the computer, and because it's a Google Doc, it's on the computer as well. So I'll go to the computer and I'll type on the computer. It's much easier.
Sure.
That sort of signifies the start of the day. It's a weird thing, but that's what that is. And then for the last 10 weeks, I've been drawing a figure drawing every day. I don't always do that in the morning. In fact, I rarely do that in the morning. But it's gotten easier as I've done it. And when I have something to do, I tend to do that as some part of the morning. So I've done one today. So like before I came to this party, I drew a 30-minute figure drawing, which, is sort of like exercise in that you feel good that you did a thing.
Yeah. And a few days ago, you sent me a picture of a drawing you had done. Is that just one of your daily?
That's one of the daily ones. Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah, cool. There's a couple of different books that one book from an ex-military guy is literally, I think, called Just Make Your Bed or something like that. And the idea is do something in the morning that lets you feel like you did a damn thing.
Yeah.
So that starts the momentum. And then everything else, because the reason I write in the morning is not because I have profound things to say, but because everybody wants your attention always.
Sure.
And by writing first thing in the morning, that's what I mean by calling shotgun, is it's a way for me to make sure that the day is about something that I care about. It'll always be something different.
Yeah.
Because when I type stuff out, a lot of people who haven't written for a while to themselves are surprised at how much, when you sit down to write, you're not in full control. It's sort of like riding a horse. I haven't ridden a horse in real life, but I've read them in video games. And when they are, when you're playing Zelda and it's a not tamed horse yet, it'll go a little left when you don't mean it to.
Sure.
And writing is a little bit like that, where you'll get some surprises of what was in your head. And by seeing it, you can then make adjustments.
Okay.
So that's the bulk of the beginning of my day. And then from there, it's hard to know. There's a lot of learning involved. There's a lot of books or video courses sometimes. Or one of the things that does happen a lot is I will be checking my email because I'm on a lot of email lists. A lot of people our age are very averse to putting their email address on a thing. Pro tip. Find people who are worth getting on their email list and they will send you crap so that it will interrupt your day with the stuff that you want to hear about. Imagine a book that instead of being a bunch of chapters in a book on your shelf that you keep meaning to read, was instead emailed to you chapter by chapter.
That's pretty cool.
That's how I think about email lists, because a lot of times I'm like, I don't care about this today, but I'll get on the email list because some other future version of myself won't be so tired and will be bored on my phone looking for something to do. I will open up my email app. And sometimes I will learn profound crap from those. Sometimes things I have taught you came directly from reading an email. So that's really the closest to a typical day as I could imagine.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I mean,
lots of video games also.
Sure. And that is almost all of our time, actually. But I will say that of all the people I know, I think you're the person that probably is just putting the most thought into your life, and I very much admire that.
Oh, thank you.
So double thumbs up from me.
Awesome.
So I guess just kind of to close this out, I've been asking everybody, if you could give one piece of advice to the world, what would that piece of advice be?
To the world.
To the world.
I wrote this in a dating app this morning because I came onto the Facebook app to find if the party was today, like I thought it was. And while I was in there, they were like, there's a dating section. It's a big old button in the middle. And I was like, whatever, sure. And so I signed up for that. And you're not allowed to, you get one little area for a bio, and then everything after that is you have to answer questions the Facebook has asked you. And one of them was advice.
Yeah.
And the thing that I said was, I'm not going to go find it because we don't have time, but it was something along the lines of find what doesn't make you happy and then stop pursuing that.
There you go.
Find where happiness isn't and then pursuing
Stay away
that.
from there.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you very much, Steve.
Thank you, Gabe.
Great having you on.
All right. So next time on the Nowhere... All right.
All right. So why don't we start out by having you tell me who you are?
I'm Tim Tannison.
There you go. Yeah. And, sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say, because I've known you since high school.
Since high school, yeah.
18 years ago now.
Something like that. Oh, my. No, Tim. It has not been that long.
It's been.
You take that back. You take that back, young man.
I'm also including, the couple of years in high school when I first met you.
Sure.
I think I was probably a sophomore or junior at the time.
I don't remember if I met you my first year, because I started there as a sophomore. I don't remember if I met you that year or the following year. I think you might have been a senior and I was a junior. Maybe. I don't know.
Something like
that. Doesn't matter. Yeah. Doesn't matter.
Either way, it was 16 to 18 years ago.
Sure.
And that is very depressing.
I know. So why don't you tell me what a day in the life of Tim Tannison is like?
Oh, well, let's see. Yesterday.
Okay. And you can pick a day.
Yesterday was a great day.
There you go.
I woke up very late for what I'm waking up now because before I was working nights and now I'm working days. So I usually wake up around 5 o'clock in the morning.
Sure.
Yesterday I woke up around 11, so that was nice. I got up, played Pokemon Sword for a couple of hours, watched some YouTube videos, and relaxed. It was a wonderful day.
Sounds like a pretty good day. I haven't gotten Pokemon yet. I'll probably get it pretty soon. How is it?
I like it so far. It's good. I haven't really played. I haven't completed a Pokemon game since the 3rd gen.
Sure.
So this is a while ago. I think I had Sapphire. I think.
Yeah.
That was forever ago. Oh, actually, maybe I finished Platinum also. But either way, it's been. I've picked up like X or Y. I picked up, I think, Moon. Never finished those ones. So now I'm on the final gym leader, and I think I might actually finish this one.
Well, cool. I got Let's Go. I got Let's Go Pikachu, and I beat that one. But other than that one, I haven't bought a Pokemon game since maybe even 2nd gen. I know I beat Crystal. I don't know if I ever beat. I played either Sapphire or like Ruby or Omega.
It was like
Fire Red, okay. I think. I played some of those. I don't remember if I actually beat them, though. So
I think I only beat Sapphire. I was going to Vegas, so I figured I'd pick up a game to play on the plane.
Sure.
So I think that's the only real reason I finished that one. I also had Let's Go Eevee, and I think I'm at like Vermilion City, and I stopped playing.
Okay.
Which is a shame, because I love 1st gen. I mean, that's why I was like, oh, this is going to be great. This is perfect.
Yeah.
So.
I played all the way through that one, and then I think they might have, I don't know if they've added new stuff since I stopped playing. I don't remember if they even added anything new to that. But I mean, I had gotten everything that I felt like getting, except there was like one cosmetic you could get for Pikachu or whatever, that it's like a crown that costs like a ton of money. I was like, let me save up for that. And I gave up about halfway towards that. But other than that, I beat the Elite Four. I got Mewtwo, all that kind of stuff.
I do love the fact that I now have a matching outfit for both me and Eevee.
that is pretty cool.
That is adorable.
Yeah. So I guess, see, it's easy whenever the people I'm talking to have played D&D, or like if it's someone that I know.
I haven't yet.
You haven't?
No.
Okay.
No, that's.
Well, let me ask you, just because I find it's easy for people to talk about D&D if it's something they've played. What are your thoughts on tabletop role-playing, since it does not seem to be something that you have done?
I see posts with on Facebook about D&D all the time, and it's one of those things like I'm honestly surprised I haven't done yet.
Sure.
I would love to give it a go sometime. just the other day I was talking with a buddy of mine, and we've been talking about for a while getting together to play a game of Risk.
Okay,
so, yeah. We do play the like tabletop game, but D&D is one of those ones I haven't yet, even though it seems like something I would have done
totally
by this
up
point.
your alley, but just haven't taken the plunge. No. Okay. Well, if you ever are interested in it, at the Garden City Library over here, once a month I do like a little 1 hour introduction to D&D. So I don't it might not fit your schedule, but
I'm sure it will one day or another. Okay. So, but yeah, that sounds fantastic. I have to get to figure out when the next ones are, so I can, because yeah.
Have you seen any of the, like, there have been a few TV shows that have done it. Like there was like an episode of Community
that is one of those shows that everyone keeps telling me that I would love, and I haven't started yet.
Sure. I've only seen that one episode. So full disclosure. Okay, I'm just curious, like what the cultural osmosis is for someone who hasn't played the game.
I think it's mostly just because, like, as far as like RPGs go, since we were just talking about Pokemon, and like it seems like for because I'm a big gamer. I mean, at least I was. I don't.
You are about 12 feet tall.
Yes.
Sorry, go
on. But yeah, it's one of those things that it kind of, gaming without like the TV.
Yeah.
Like, so it makes sense. Like, I'm interested in that kind of stuff. I'm not the biggest RPG player. I've only played like the best Final Fantasies, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Sure.
Haven't really played anything past that.
You're fine. You're doing fine.
Yeah. I've played bits and pieces of the ones before that. Pokemon, like we said, probably my go-to RPG.
Sure. I would say that's probably the one that most people will recognize. Even if they never played a Final Fantasy game, they at least know what Pokemon is.
And then not so much Oblivion, but Fallout. Okay. I did finish Fallout 3, which took me so much longer than I thought it would. But yeah, like, I think it's just kind of like I said, the same thing, just without the system and different people and kind of figuring out that backstory on your own.
Sure. There's something about the collaborative element of it that you just can't get from a video game.
Yeah.
So, okay. Well, I think that's about time, but let me finish out by asking if you could give one piece of advice to the world, what would that piece of advice be?
Oof.
Sorry, it's
no.
I know it's a heavy question.
That is heavy. Be kind.
Okay,
that's always a good one.
That's good enough.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that.
Thank you so much, Tim, for coming on here. Thank you. So let's start off by just having you tell me, who are you?
I'm Jessica.
Okay, Jessica, why don't you tell me what is a typical day in the life of Jessica like?
I wake up and take a shower, and then I go to work and fix people's smiles.
Okay.
Because I'm an orthodontist assistant.
Oh, there you go. I didn't realize. I didn't know what you did for a living.
Actually, I just got a new job on Friday.
Oh,
so.
Okay. Well, that's why.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess, why don't you tell me, is there anything in your life that you are particularly proud of?
I quit smoking.
Okay. What was that like? What do you want to say, like, what motivated you to do that?
Well, I got rid of my job that I was miserable at.
That's always a good move.
And I've started saying no.
Okay.
And it's just eliminating stress.
Okay. And so smoking was just a source of stress in your life? Or do you have less stress and therefore you don't need to smoke as much? Oh, okay. That makes... As a non-smoker, clearly I don't understand why people smoke.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What's been the hardest part?
Nothing really. This time I was just ready.
Okay, so it's just cold turkey?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, congratulations, I guess. Of course, I'm sure there will be hard parts as with anything like
Probably.
that.
I quit. I wanted to quit last year before I turned 30, but this year I turned 31 and I quit right before that, so that's all right.
Okay. Well, cool. Hopefully it keeps on being as easy as it has been so far. You should be proud no matter what.
Yeah.
What is, tell me a joke. What's your favorite joke?
What's a good time to go to the dentist?
I think I know the answer, but go on.
2:30.
2:30. There you go.
That's the only one I could think of.
No, that's fine. So I had my dad in here earlier, and I asked him to tell me a joke. He told me it was the longest joke in the world, and I didn't think it was funny at all. but whatever. So you are friends with my wife Lisa, correct? How did the two of you meet?
Elementary school. I don't even know what grade.
Okay. Were you in Girl Scouts? I know she was in Girl Scouts.
No, not really.
Okay. What sort of stuff? Did you do any extracurricular stuff when you were in school?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Not really. I was just a lone wolf.
There you go. I guess that works.
I got cake on my fingers.
That's fine. So how have you been enjoying the party so far?
I've been making jewelry and eating cake.
Okay, cool.
It's the one thing Lisa's made that I don't hate.
And between you and me, that's there's not a lot of that going around. I joked with one of my friends the other day that every Thanksgiving I go and I love making the turkey. I love making dessert. And then I said that Lisa always makes something that nobody wants. And then she's the only one that eats any of it. So
probably because it's awful.
I guess. I mean, she's trying, but
yeah, she tries, but
she insists on making this stuff that it's like, Lisa, I've never wanted that in my entire life. Sure, I'll try it, but
like chocolate covered pickles or something.
Sure. Well, one time she made a blueberry coconut chocolate pie. She did not follow a recipe. You might be thinking, oh, wherever she got that recipe must know what to know. No. She made it up. She basically just threw a bunch of stuff in a pie crust. And then we took it to a family gathering. I was the only one who ate any of it. And then I only ate it because I felt bad. And then she was like, oh man, everybody was loving my pie. And it's like, no, Lisa, nobody ate any of it. Anyway, not to complain too much. So I guess just to round this out, let me ask you, if you could give a piece of advice to the world, what would that piece of advice be?
It's a cliche, but to do what makes you happy.
Okay.
And if something's causing you stress or making you miserable in some type of way, you have to eliminate it.
Okay. Well, hey, it's a cliche for a reason. Some good advice. Okay. Well, thank you very much. I think that'll do it. So
thanks.
Thank you for coming. So let's start out by having you tell me, who are you?
Oh boy. My name is, well, just like in a very broad sense, or just sort of like, my name is Jamie Maurer. I am a friend of Gabe's.
Yep. Okay. Maybe in a more specific sense. Okay. Who are you? Answer however you want.
Sure. Okay. I'm a writer. Professionally, I'm a writer, video blogger. I've done some video production. Personally, I'm just a guy.
Okay.
Trying his best.
Well, sounds good.
Yes.
So why don't you tell me what a day is like in the life of Jamie?
Well, let's see here. I wake up and I usually put off doing work. It's usually the first thing to do. I'm in kind of a weird space professionally now, actually, because I'm basically fully self-employed, but not actually working all that much.
Okay.
So I mean, I have some writing work I've been doing. I've been doing a couple projects for a few apps.
Sure.
Writing heterosexual erotica, which I think is hilarious. But I'm actually working on something new now that I'm actually actually excited about.
Okay.
Because it's an original story. It's a slasher murder mystery set amongst a tabletop gaming group.
I mean, that sounds pretty awesome.
I have high hopes for it.
Well, cool. You'll have to let me know when you're done with that.
Yeah, for sure. I'll definitely.
I'll check it out.
I'll post it. I'll post all about it when it's up.
Cool. So you and I actually met. I mean, we met in high school.
Mm-hmm.
I think we were in choir. Is that how we met? So we were in the same choir. I don't remember if we ever.
Were you in video?
Not at the time.
Okay.
I think I was the following.
I think
year.
It must have been either choir or theater.
Okay. Probably choir. Well, no.
I mean, there's a lot of overlap there, but
there is a lot of. I think because we were both in My Fair Lady. I don't know if we ever talked to each other, but we were both there.
Yes. Were you in a show before that?
No, I was in student directed scenes, but that's all. Okay. So we became friends, I would say, through playing D&D.
Yeah.
So you have at least some experience playing D&D.
Sure.
What sort of, let's say you're going to join a game. You're going to be playing in a game. You're not going to be running it. You're going to be playing in a game. Mm-hmm. What are some things that you hope will happen in that game? The reason I ask is like I find that one of the easiest things to get people to talk about is D&D.
Yeah.
If they are into D&D,
sure,
it's a real easy way to be like, yeah, they can talk for 5 minutes about D&D anytime.
I guess it really kind of depends on the sort of game it is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if it's just like a full on combat heavy sort of thing, I just hope we have some interesting encounters that we do. If it's like a more social thing, I hope that there's some just interesting interactions. I guess in general, I hope something interesting will happen.
Sure.
Whatever that is based on what the type of game it is.
Okay. What types of characters do you tend to play in RPGs?
Often play magic users, just because I think there's a lot more. They seem to have a lot more options of what they can do. Like I kind of like the idea of like I can change reality in these specific ways, as opposed to just I can hit things with this.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I totally understand.
So yeah, I would say I tend to play magic users more often.
Okay. And I can't seem to remember. Have you ever run a game, or have you just been a player?
I have run a few times. My campaigns never seem to last very long. I find that I'm very good at coming up with like concepts and like premises.
Sure.
But not a lot of like sustainability as far as like, okay, now what happens next?
Man, I feel you. Don't worry. Yeah. I know exactly where you're coming from.
So yeah, I've run Mutants and Masterminds a few times.
Oh, okay.
I think that's the main one I've run, actually.
That one's fairly free form. So that sounds like a good.
It's actually a very hard one to run too, because you have characters who, like, if you don't set restrictions, the players can basically do anything they want.
Like, I have time control and matter manipulation, and I can create 1 million duplicates of myself.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
I teleport to the end boss. Like that's
right.
You can't really create dungeons in that system, really.
Yeah. It's definitely it lends itself to a completely different style of actual play. Right. I think. Okay. All right. Can you think of anything else in particular you'd like to talk about?
Not specifically, but I'm up for whatever.
No problem. I mean, we're coming up on time, so I guess I've been finishing out all of these by asking if you could give one piece of advice to the world. What would that piece of advice be?
It's like, don't be a dick.
There you go. That's all it's got to be.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Jamie, for coming to my party. Thank you for
having me.
For coming on here. And yeah, awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. I guess let's start out by having you tell me, who are you?
I'm Christina. I work at Chrysler with you.
There we go. Okay, why don't you tell me what a typical day is like in the life of Christina?
You know, I like to sleep a lot, and I like to eat a lot.
Two good things. Two good things right there. So is that your typical day? You sleep a lot and you eat a lot?
Yeah, and if not, I'm going to work.
Okay, all right. I guess that's a simple answer, but hey, whatever works. Okay. In your life, what are some of your hobbies? What do you do when you're not at work?
I sleep and I eat.
Okay. I guess we covered that one already. Okay. Let's say you didn't have to work anymore. If you get like $1 billion or something and money is no object, what would you do with the rest of your life?
I would totally open up a huge animal shelter for like all of them. I don't care what it is. It can be animals. A lizard.
Okay. That's not bad. Do you have pets yourself?
I have a crested gecko and fish, and I used to have a bunny rabbit.
Okay. Cool. Have you ever had or thought about having pet rats?
So my cousin had pet rats, and they were actually really cool and really smart.
Mm-hmm. We used to have rats. We've had a lot of them over the years, and maybe a year or two ago, our last ones were getting old and they eventually passed away. So we decided not to, especially since we have the dog now, not to get any more rats for the time being. I'm sure we will someday. But at the moment we just have the one rabbit and the one dog. And one of our neighbors just a couple houses down recently got a rat, and they're adorable. And it's really made me like miss having rats myself. You
should just get another one.
Eventually, not right now. Because like the thing is, I know that I don't have enough time to give it the attention it deserves.
That makes sense.
I already feel guilty for not spending more time with the rabbit, not spending more time with our dog. And I mean, I know the answer is, well, just spend more time with the animals. I mean, but that's...
Sometimes it's not that easy.
Sometimes it's not that easy, yeah. So yeah, I think animals are pretty good. It's great to have them around. It's crazy how something that you never thought would have personality can have personality.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure you said you have a lizard.
Yeah.
I'm sure your lizard has its own its own personality. You could probably tell me like what its preferences are and such.
He likes different types of music. Like he really likes oldies, and sometimes you'll put on like some hard rock and he's like, "Oh no."
That's kind of amazing. Like it's just so crazy. When I was a kid, I never would have thought that like rats would have personalities, but they totally do. Now, I like certain types of critters. I hate bugs. Like even like spiders. No, I cannot stand them. I would never want to have a pet tarantula. That sounds like the worst idea in the entire world. However, I have heard people talk about the personalities of their pet tarantula. And I'm so conflicted about that.
I worked at a pet store for a little while, and we definitely had tarantulas there.
Yeah.
Now, we did have one that was really, really nice. We named it. We used to take it out and everything, and I would never think about a tarantula except that one.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely not. But that one had personality.
Sure. So I'm conflicted because like, I want to believe that they're just these like mindless evil creatures because then I can hate them. But if they have personality, I don't know if I could do that.
They know certain people after time and things like that. I don't know. I think you can hate the little ones, but not the big ones.
Okay.
I think that's acceptable.
Yeah. What's your favorite joke?
What's the difference between a dead baby and a Mercedes?
I think I know this one, but go on.
I don't have a Mercedes in my garage.
There you go. So that's a pretty good one. That's a classic, I'd say. All right. I mean, we're pretty much coming up on time, but I guess let me finish off by asking you same question I've been asking everybody. If you could provide one piece of advice to the world, what would that piece of advice be?
Just to like chill the fuck out, man.
Okay. Can't put it better myself.
Right.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Christina, for coming on here. Thank you. Why don't you tell me, who are you?
I am David Johnstone.
There you go.
I am your coworker.
Yep.
At Chrysler. And I am a father of 2 daughters. One's 7 and one's like 4 months.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Of course, I said congratulations then, but I'll say it again. Belated congratulations.
Thank you. And my wife, we've been married for 8 years.
Cool. Congratulations
on that as well. I was
going
to slip and say how old she was, but that's not good. You don't want to do that.
Sure. Okay. So I guess why don't you tell me what a typical day in the life of Dave Johnstone is like?
Okay, so aside from Chrysler, obviously I don't work in the division where you work.
Mm-hmm.
I work on the docks, so
Sure.
I empty trucks. Aside from that difference, most of my time outside of work is spent either like talking with my oldest daughter or basically like answering Facebook texts. And
Sure.
so
I know what you mean.
I am part of a large group.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Dads with Daughters group, and it's like 76,000 members strong. And we recently reached out to one that was like 34,000 strong, and their entire admin team was like, yeah, we'll just merge because we're not handling the crowd as well as you're handling your crowd.
Sure.
So we're trying to merge. and reach 100K, but I'm not sure that's going to happen.
Okay.
It's like a slow process because people are like, I like my own 34K site, and it's like, well, yeah, but it'll be dead in 3 months. And they're just like, I don't believe you. And it's like, okay.
Yeah. Nobody likes change, especially when I don't know, when I don't know, just nobody likes change, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So,
and of course, then you have guys like, how much did they pay you to disclose?
Right.
Well, there's no money exchanging hands.
Right.
However, when you get to 100K, that's when Facebook affiliated companies start to take notice and start offering programs. So that's sort of like the win-win hope, that strategy that we're going for.
Mm-hmm.
But there's definitely some dads groups out there that we would probably never partner with and merge with because they're just like more toxic, sort of classic alpha male type of groups.
Sure.
And this one here, we sort of struck a chord with. We have a similar vision. So
yeah, not everybody's going to get along, and that's just how it is sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay. So so you play tabletop games of various varieties. Why don't you tell me? So what is your favorite? Just share with me a fun tabletop role playing experience you've had.
Okay, so probably my most successful character, and probably most successful campaign that I've ever played in was I played Og. He was the Psionic Fighter Minotaur. He was 600 pounds. He had terrible dexterity, awesome constitution, really middling strength actually for the character. But I mean, I basically made him to be a walking tank.
Okay.
And we got into a not in real life argument, but in a player versus player, like a character versus character argument.
Sure.
Right in the beginning of the campaign, because there was one guy who had a horse. It was like his steed. It was like his thing to have a horse.
Yeah.
And nobody else did. And like, being that I had played a couple of times, I'm like, oh, this is going to be a problem. He's always going to want his horse around, and like, we're just going to want to go somewhere.
Yeah.
So the DM gave us each like a semi-magic item, and I got a magic boat, like a folding boat.
Oh,
so
cool! Yeah,
I unfolded
cool item.
Yeah. So I unfolded the boat, and he proceeded to lead his horse onto the boat, and I'm like, "No, sir, this is my boat."
Right.
And of course, there was, I was like, I don't want it to tip.
Sure.
And then it got to like us beefing, and I was like, "You want fight?" In my Minotaur voice.
Right.
You want fight? And of course he was like, yeah. So, he hit me, and I was like,
okay.
I did a spell. I think I had like Stone's Endurance or something, and then he hit me again, and I did something else. I like gained 58 hit points, and then he hit me a third time, and I just dropped him. I KO'd him.
Yeah.
And then
you're standing there buffing yourself while
Right. And then while he was down. I proceeded to hit him, and everyone was like, "You're going to kill him. That's not okay." And I was like, well, he hit me 3 times in a row. Like I was playing a dumb Minotaur, I was like, I decide he was not good friend for Journey.
There you go. Okay. I'm curious what happened after that. Did everything get resolved?
He never challenged me again in character.
Okay.
But
so you didn't kill him. You didn't kill his character.
No, they were able to stop me before I did.
Okay.
But then it was implied for the rest of the campaign that I would no longer try to kill anybody that was in the group, but that everybody would not mess with me anymore.
Okay. So at the very least, something good came of it.
I think so.
Okay. Well, cool. Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. It sounds like you guys had a pretty good handle on how to. You solved it in character rather than out of character.
Yeah.
Sounds like a pretty good resolution.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess we're coming up on time, I guess. Is there anything in particular anything else you want to briefly touch on?
I can't wait to show you my risk maps.
Okay. There you go.
I really didn't start early on RPGs. I think I got into that in college.
Sure.
But even before that, I was into Risk. I was into Axis and Allies.
Yeah.
I really liked tactical strategy board games so much that I have made my own Risk maps and my own Axis and Allies maps from scratch. And I was that nerd coming into Kinko's copies, and they were like, "Oh, we know this guy." And
sure.
Like, a couple people didn't like me. One guy really liked me. You know, so
there you go. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess I'll just close out by asking, if you could give one piece of advice to the world, what would that piece of advice be?
I would say be more of what you envision yourself being and less of what everyone expects you to be.
Okay. There you go. All right. Well, thank you very much, David.
Thank you.
All right. So I guess let's start out by having you tell me, who are you?
Who am I?
Sure.
I'm Theo. I live in Westland, Michigan now. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Define that question however you want to define it. If you just want to give me your name, that's fine. If there's anything that you feel makes you, whatever you want.
I guess I'm Theo. I guess I'm free-spirited.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I try to, follow the beats to my own drum.
Okay. That works.
Okay.
Why don't you tell me what is a day in the life of Theo like?
Oh my God. It's just, I don't know. Some days I can be really, I just have like lots of dozens ideas in my head.
Yeah.
It's just like, a ping pong ball, not like, or like one of those pin arcade machines,
like a pinball
machines, yeah. Where if you keep on pressing it, where the ball goes boing 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 to every directions and it wouldn't stop.
Yeah.
It's in my head, but I really don't get a lot of those things done.
Okay.
I always have yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm sure a lot of people a lot of people feel like that sometimes. So I guess what's something that you feel really passionate about?
Me or anyone, do whatever makes you happy, I guess.
Okay.
Happiness, and an adventure to make you happy or content.
Sure. What are some things you like to do in your free time?
On my free time?
Mm-hmm.
Drive around, like you saw me down there. I sit and play fighting games.
Okay. What's your favorite fighting game?
Of course.
I know.
Mortal Kombat series.
I'm trying to get you to talk about it on mic.
Yes, Mortal Kombat series.
Okay.
I'm actually not as great as you think I am. Playing online, most people are a lot better.
Oh, I mean, I'm terrible. Like I've never really played much of Mortal Kombat, but I got, back when I got my PS3 a long time ago, so like 10, 11, 12 years ago, I got the Street Fighter 2 Turbo HD remix.
Uh-huh.
It took me 2 years before I was able to beat a single computer opponent.
Really?
Ever.
Well, to be fair, the Street Fighter games, it has gone. I mean, I don't know, Turbo. Street Fighter 5 sucked. So
yeah.
The Street Fighter franchise, I tried getting to it, but like now that you have that arcade machine you built, you can feel nostalgic and stuff. But
yeah,
the Street Fighter 5, all the new, I know about Street Fighter, I can't play it that much anymore. It's just, I don't know. Something about the mechanics of the games aren't as good as I remember it.
Yeah. I mean, each franchise kind of has its own ups and downs and such. But I always really liked Mortal Kombat. I always loved how
the
story, how much the developers they really had fun with it.
Right.
They never got too self-serious. Everything was tongue in cheek. Everything, they were just having a good time.
Right. And so that's why it lasts for 30 years and it's still going.
Yeah.
And the movies in the works. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Have you seen The Terminator is in the most recent one?
Oh, on the new one, yes. I seen him. I didn't buy the deluxe package with all the extra characters, but I seen other people play him. I beat him a few times, but I think it's 50-50. The player, he's slow going. But I play against players who play him. He's pretty cool. Not my favorite, but he's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that he's in there, but I don't ever see myself playing the later Mortal Kombat games anyway. So.
Yeah, I don't think I want to play him. If I have a chance, I would a few times, but he's not going to be my main character.
Sure. Who is your favorite character in Mortal Kombat?
I posted about her before. Her. Well, as in storyline and development and the whole, everything. It's, of course, Princess Kitana.
Sure.
It's because I like her. She's very pretty. She's mysterious. She's, she's centered a lot of the characters. Then playing her too, but I also like Ermac's my favorite male character. He's not in the latest game.
Sure.
And I like Baraka because he's cool with long blades. But everyone, the face of Mortal Kombat, I hate to say it, I don't want any cliche, but Scorpion, he's an easy player. He's just like the spear, and he was not one of my favorite characters, just of design and story alone, but he's so easy to play with, it's hard not to like him.
Sure. So. When I was a little kid, Baraka scared me.
Of course.
Because, he's got the blades and everything, but whenever you'd see his face, he's got those long teeth. And
that's the point.
Yeah. But I always thought Kitana was awesome, with her blades that she'd throw and they'd spin and everything. Right. I always thought that was so cool. I never really played Mortal Kombat, but I'd watch people play it, and she always struck me as one of the best characters. Just because.
Well, that's what makes Mortal Kombat great, because even if you're not a big fighter game or fighting video games, if you know about the storyline or the comic books and storyline in the movies, Mortal Kombat is just not a fighting game. It's like a big franchise that's just like pan of of a lot of things. So
sure. Okay. Well, we're coming up on time. So before we close out, let me just ask you a question. If you could give a piece of advice to the whole world, what would that piece of advice be?
I think do you. Advice to the whole world? Sound like a child, but go venture out. Do what makes you happy, content. And if anyone thinks anything low of it, insulting, you know what? As long as you're not harming anybody else in the way, just do your own thing, have a good time, and just, be a free spirit and be happy. Do whatever you be happy.
That's some good advice.
Don't get stuck in one little box. Just be happy, but just as long as you don't harm anybody or any creature in the way.
Sure.
So, there we go.
Oh, cool. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on here.
Thank you for having me.
All right, and this is Gabe here, back on the podcast. That's the end of this week's episode. Hopefully you had a good time listening. I won't bother you with all the admin that we usually do. Just, tell a friend, rate, review, all that kind of stuff. But I will ask that you take some of the people's advice to heart that you heard in this episode. I think some people had some really good advice in there. So anyway, thanks for listening, and catch you next week.
You gotta interview him.
Hey, Super Hands. Who's a good boy? You don't say.
Air some more grievances.
And then what happened?
Tell him all the things that he's doing wrong.
Okay. Try to keep it down, Super Hands. So what are your thoughts about all these politics? Am I right?
That's a good answer. Don't even engage with those questions, Super Hands.
All right. He seems interested in something over in the corner.
Okay, he gave you his birthday wish.
Okay, there you go. Thank you very much, Super Hands. Super Hands, is it okay with you if I put this on the podcast in the future? I don't know if I will or not, but
yes, you will.
I will. Okay. All right. Thank you, Super Hands. Have a great day.